Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Today we will discuss about one important topic, carbohydrates. If you see, this is a carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are a very important biomacromolecules as well as biomicromolecule also, because we see three types of carbohydrates in living organisms. The three different type of carbohydrates are, first one are the monosaccharides. Here these are the monosaccharides. And the second one are oligosaccharides. And third one are polysaccharides. Monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides are three different types of carbohydrates which are found in living organisms. Monosaccharide means single units, sweet sugars. Oligosaccharides are having 2 to 10 number of units. Polysaccharide means more than 10 sugar units. The general formula of carbohydrate is CnH2n ON. CnH2n ON is the general formula of carbohydrates. Or in another way, CH2O taken twice, N also a general formula of all the carbohydrates. Monosaccharides are first important type of carbohydrate. These monosaccharides are simple sugars and easily soluble and sweet in taste. These are present in crystallized form. The two functional groups of sugars are hydroxyl group and methyl group. So hydroxyl group and methyl group are the two functional groups in the structure of a carbohydrate. If you see the type of monosaccharides, for suppose if we see examples of monosaccharides like glucose, fructose, ribose, galactose. Here glucose is a hexo sugar, means it has 6 carbon atoms in its structure. Fructose also a 6C carbon atom, 6C compound. Ribose is a pentose sugar, means 5C. And galactose also a 6C. So glucose, fructose, ribose, galactose are different examples of monosaccharides. Among all these monosaccharides, fructose is a keto sugar, means it has a keto group. One keto group present in its structure, so it is a keto sugar, and it is also named as a fruit sugar because it is mostly found in fruits. So fruit sugar, the sugar which is present in fruits is fructose. So simply it is called a fruit sugar. Fructose sugar is an isomer of glucose. Yes, why? Because glucose and fructose are hexoses. Both of the two are easily interconvertible forms. They are easily converted from one form to other form, means fructose to glucose, glucose to fructose. They are easily convertible isomeric forms. They involve in isomerization to convert from one form to other form. To convert from one form to other form. And one more other example of monosaccharide is galactose. Galactose also called brain sugar. Galactose also called brain sugar. The most common type of sugar is sugars present in nucleic acids are pentose sugars. Pentose sugar means ribose sugar or deoxyribose sugar. You know about the molecular formula of ribose sugar as C5H10O5. C5H10O5 is the molecular formula of ribose sugar. And deoxyribose sugar C5H10O4 means it has 5 carbon atoms, 10 hydrogen atoms, only 4 oxygen atoms in its structure. So simply it is a deoxyribose sugar. Deoxyribose sugar is a component of DNA. Ribose sugar is a component of RNA. Glucose is a hexose, aldose sugar. You know about that. Glucose is a first formed product of photosynthesis process or carbon fixation. Through carbon fixation process, the first formed product is glucose. All reducing sugars are characterized by the presence of free aldehyde group or free keto group. So aldehyde group or keto groups are present in each and every sugar. All monosaccharides are mostly reducing sugars that are convert Cu plus 2 into Cu plus. You know about the cuprous to cupric, cupric to cuprous. Here in the conversion mainly takes place with the help of a failing reagent in failing solution. So reducing sugars, almost all the reducing sugars are convert Cu plus 2 into Cu plus in failing solution. Generally, the living organisms are having L amino acids and D sugars. L levorotatory amino acids, D dextrorotatory sugars. Levorotatory amino acids are present in proteins and dextrorotatory sugars are present as carbohydrate in living organisms. So levorotatory amino acids and dextrorotatory sugars are commonly present in all the living organisms. First formed product in CO2 fixation is glucose during the photosynthesis process. You know about that. The molecular formula of glucose is C6H12O6. C6H12O6 is the molecular formula of C6H12O6 is the molecular formula of glucose. Glucose is a first formed product. Later, the glucose converted into a reserved carbohydrate. The name of that reserved carbohydrate is starch. And then next one, oligosaccharides. If we see the structure of oligosaccharide, almost every oligosaccharide has 2 to 10 units of monosaccharides. That means the number of monomeric units in the structure of a oligosaccharide are 2 to 10 in its structure. The example of a few oligosaccharides are one is the sucrose, second one is the lactose, and third one is the stachyose. Sucrose is a disaccharide. Even lactose also a disaccharide, but stachyose is a trisaccharide. Means in sucrose and lactose, the number of monomeric units are only 2 and here. But in stachyose, the number of monomeric units are actually 4. So stachyose is a stachyose made up with 3 different type of monosaccharides and in number 4. So 2 galactose units, 1 glucose unit, 1 fructose unit present in the structure of a stachyose. So it is a tetrasaccharide, not a trisaccharide. It is a tetrasaccharide. But first 2 are disaccharides. Glucose plus fructose is equals to sucrose. Glucose plus lactose, glucose plus galactose is equals to glucose plus galactose is equals to lactose. So glucose and galactose are the components of a lactose. Glucose and galactose are used as energy source. They directly involves in aerobic respiration process. To yield the energy. Sucrose also called as a invert sugar and also named as a table sugar. Sucrose is a non-reducing disaccharide. When compared with the glucose and galactose, glucose, galactose, fructose, all of that are reducing sugars. But sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. Because of this reason, generally, the food materials which are transported in the form of sucrose. So it is also named as a transporting carbohydrate. Means the food material which are transported from one place to other place through phloem in the form of only sucrose. So this is a transport carbohydrate. Food transported in the form of sucrose. Then the third type of carbohydrates are polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are also simply named as a glycons or non-sugars. Non-sugars. These are long chains of sugars. When many number of sugars or monosaccharides are joined by glycosidic bonds, C glycosidic bonds form a polysaccharide. Polysaccharides are polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxyketones. In a polysaccharide, right side end is called reducing end. For suppose if we see the diagram like this. If it is a long linear chain-like structure, it has two ends. One is a reducing end and the second one is a non-reducing end. This is a left side of strand, left side of chain, and it is a right side of chain. So the left side of chain is reducing end. This is a reducing end and this is a non-reducing end. Right side end is reducing, left side end is non-reducing. Non-reducing and it is reducing. Left side end is non-reducing, right side end is reducing end. Left side end is reducing end. These are found in acid. The polysaccharides are found in acid insoluble fraction or present in retintate. Polysaccharides may be divided into two types. They are homopolysaccharides and the second one are heteropolysaccharides. Homopolysaccharide means they are made up with the same type of monomeric units n repeated times. N repeated time means all the units are same. Like for suppose if we see the structure of a starch, they are made up with glucose, 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 glucose. All are same now. So if they are made up with the same type of monomeric units, they are called homopolysaccharides. Some important types of homopolysaccharides are: first one is a starch, second one is a cellulose, third one is a glycogen, and fourth one is a inulin. Starch is a storage carbohydrate, storage polysaccharide. That means the food material which is stored in the form of starch in plants. The monomeric units of starch are glucose. Even cellulose also made up with same type of monomeric units, but it is a structural carbohydrate, structural polysaccharide. Why? Because it is a structural component of cell wall of plants. The cell wall of plant made up with cellulose, hemicellulose, and pectin. But mostly major constant and major component is cellulase in the cell walls of plants and algae. So cellulose considered as a structural carbohydrate in plants. And the third type of homopolysaccharide is glycogen. Glycogen also another type of storage polysaccharide or storage carbohydrate. Glycogen also named as an animal starch because glycogen, the food material which is stored in the form of glycogen in animals, but in plants, the food material which is stored in the form of starch. In animals, in the form of glycogen. That's the difference. But you remember, both starch and glycogen are made up with same type of components. The type of components are the type of monomeric units are glucoses. Glucose is a one monomeric unit which is present in both starch and glycogen. But structurally, both of these two are same. Starch, glycogen, structurally, functionally, both are same, but present in two different organisms. One in plants, second one in animals. So who are present in plants? Starch. And who are present in animals? Glycogen. That's the difference between starch and glycogen. Cellulose is a structural carbohydrate and the components are also glucose. But you remember, Starch shows a secondary structure, but cellulose shows a primary structure. Glycogen shows a cartoon-like structure. That is the difference between in their structure. So who shows a helical structure? Starch. But who shows a long linear chain-like structure without helices? Cellulose. And who are branched structure? Glycogen. Starch and cellulose are unbranched homopolysaccharides, but glycogen is a branched homopolysaccharide. It shows a cartoon-like structure. Inulin is another kind of homopolysaccharide. It is made up with fructose. Fructose is another important type of monosaccharide. The similarity between starch and inulin is starch, inulin, both are present in plants. Both are a storage carbohydrate, but structurally they are different. Because starch made up with glucose, but inulin made up with fructose. 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 Inulin made up with fructose and starch made up with glucose. Heteropolysaccharides are made up with different monomers. They are agar-agar, pectin, carrageen. In pectin, the monomeric units are arabinose, galactose, and glucoturnic acid. Glycogen analogous to starch. Why? Why? Because glycogen, starch, both of these two are same. Glycogen and starch, both of these two are same. Glycogen and starch are, both of these two are same. Why? Because both are made up with glucose and both are reserved carbohydrates. When we conduct the iodine test, in iodine test, starch gives the blue color because the helices of starch holds the iodine molecules, but glycogen gives a red color. But cellulose does not give any color in iodine test. Any color in iodine test. Why? Because it doesn't contain any helices in its structure, because cellulose shows only the primary structure. In cellulose, glucose units are linked by beta-1,4 glycosidic linkage. Beta-1,4 glycosidic linkages. When we compare the inulin with insulin, you remember inulin is a carbohydrate, but insulin is a one protein. Polymer of inulin is a polymer of fructose, but insulin is a polymer of amino acid. Inulin is a carbohydrate, insulin is a protein, polypeptide. And inulin is a polysaccharide, but insulin is a hormonal substance. Inulin is a homopolymer and insulin is a heteropolymer. But in their pronunciation, both of these two are pronouns are same. Slightly different, not same, slightly different. And when we compare the glycogen and collagen are actually two different type of molecules, but they are different, entirely different from one another. Glycogen is a polymer of glucose, but the collagen is a polymer of amino acid. Glycogen is a homopolymer and collagen is a heteropolymer. Glycogen is a storage carbohydrate. Collagen is an intracellular ground substance. And glycogen shows a cartoon-like structure, but collagen shows a triple helical structure. That's the difference. Another difference between glycogen and collagen. Glycogen also named as a animal starch, and collagen is a most abundant protein molecule in animal world. So when we observe both the terms glycogen and collagen, they may appear like same, but glycogen and collagen are entirely different from one to other. You know about that. Plant cell walls are made up with cellulose and the paper made from plant pulp. Chitin present in cell wall of fungi, and it is a complex homopolysaccharide made up with amino sugars. The amino sugars are chemically modified sugars. The average percentage of carbohydrate in almost all the cells is about only 3%. Most abundant organic compound on earth is cellulose, and mostly the food material which is synthesizes in the form of a carbohydrate, in the form of only one kind of carbohydrate. The type of carbohydrate is cellulose. Thank you. It is information about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates in NEET point of view. These are the very important points in carbohydrates topic. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to one and all. Okay, beta.